In this video, we are going to look at dimensions of health, and here are our objectives. We are going to define the term dimension of health, and we shall outline the different dimensions of health. Remember, before we define dimension of health, we are saying health is a state of complete physical, mental, social, and spiritual well-being of an individual, but not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. Now, as we talk about the dimensions of health, here we are looking at the different aspects or the different scopes or the extent to which we can measure someone's health. Those are the dimensions of health. Dimensions of health can also be called aspects of health. So in this very video, we are going to look at different dimensions of health, and we shall outline them briefly. So dimensions of health include the following. We have physical dimensions of health, mental, social, spiritual, emotional, and vocational or occupational dimensions of health. And each of these dimensions of health, there is what we focus on. And once all these are in the normal state, then we shall say the person has positive health. So positive health, this is when an individual is completely free from any disease or infirmity. Sometimes we call that wellness, when an individual is having no disease or any disturbance. But such an individual, most cases, is not there. An individual at one point is sick. You may be sick physically, and this is the common one, and this is what forces people to reach hospitals. But other people can be sick mentally, others can be sick emotionally, spiritually, and many others. And we are going now to discuss each of these dimensions of health. And these dimensions are the ones even which are used to make the definition of health. The first one is physical health or physical dimension of health. And the major key thing here, we are looking at the anatomy, physiology, and the biochemical functioning of the body. Anatomy, that is the structure of the body. Physiology, that's the functioning of the body. Biochemical, this refers to the ions like sodium, potassium, calcium, all those different minerals in the body. Once they are in normal amounts or they are in perfect functioning, then we say someone is healthy physically. That is the physical dimension of health, which refers to the state of perfect functioning of the body. Here we refer to anatomy, physiology, and the biochemical. So every body cell and organ must be functioning at optimal capacity and perfect harmony with the rest of the body. And if all this is happening, then someone's physical dimension of health is fine. Then we talk about social well-being or social dimension of health. And with this, we look at the level of health which enables an individual to live in perfect harmony and integrate with his or her surroundings. With the social, we see how man can interact with the fellows, how he's in a position to see that he lives in perfect harmony with his environment. Quality and quantity of an individual, interpersonal ties, and extent of involvement with the community in which he or she lives. How are you able to relate with your environment? How are you able to discuss with others? How are you able to make friendship? All that is in the social dimension of health, and that's what it focuses on. Then we have mental well-being or mental dimension of health. And with this, we talk about a positive mental health state indicates that the individual is well adapted to both external and internal stressors and harmonious relationship within the family, and community spheres, and he or she is able to live a productive life. So when you talk about mental well-being or mental dimension of health, the key thing that we focus on, how is this man able to adapt to the stressors which are internal and external, and how is this man able to make decisions which are going to help him to live a productive life. So the next dimension of health is spiritual dimension of health, and this refers to that part of an individual which reaches out and strives for meaning and purpose of life. It recognizes our search for meaning and purpose of life in human existence. With this spiritual dimension of health, this is when man searches for the meaning and purpose of life. He asks himself, why am I living? Why was I created? What is the purpose of my living? And when you hear such a question, know that the spiritual dimension of health of man is having issues, because that is the part which searches for the meaning and purpose of life. Then we talk about the emotional dimension of health, and this recognizes awareness and acceptance of one's feelings. Emotional dimension of health is more concerned with the feelings of an individual. How does someone perceive things? The emotional wellness includes the degree to which one feels positive and empathetic about oneself and life. How do you feel? What are the feelings within you? How do you perceive things? How do things happen and you perceive them? That is the emotional dimension of health. And for it's the one which recognizes awareness and acceptance of one's feelings. Then we talk about the last one, which is occupational dimension of health. And this is the part or the aspect of health that recognizes personal satisfaction in one's life through work. Work fully adapted to human goals, capacity, and limitation often plays a role in promoting both physical and mental health. So, vocational dimension of health is the same as occupational dimension of health. And both, or vocational dimension of health, is that part where man recognizes his satisfaction through work. What you do, does the work you do make you achieve all that you require? Thank you for listening. That marks the dimensions of health. You can share this video with your colleagues, share the link, and people get to know this information.